After taking a look at 5 players the Eagles should be targeting in round 1 of the NFL draft, it's now time to turn our attention to round number 2, where of course the Eagles hold picks 53 and 57. The question is, which players should be targeted within that 5-pick window? That's what we're here to find out. My name is Liam Jenkins and welcome to another piece of NFL draft content where we try and find out what the Eagles will do in round number 2, which could be the most important of the entire draft. If you are new around here though guys, and you do like what we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Let us know in the comments who you want to see the Birds draft at picks 53 and 57. We're going to kick things off with one of my major draft crushes this year, Darrell Henderson. I've had him mocked to the Eagles in both of my drafts on this channel and on PhillySportsNetwork.com, and with good reason. The Jordan Howard trade for me changes absolutely nothing. Henderson would be the perfect complement to how Jordan Howard runs, and you just can't dream up a better year for a running back. He averaged 8.9 yards per carry during his final season with the Memphis Tigers, and if that wasn't impressive enough, he revs up fast, blasts past the corner and can find cutback lanes for fun. It's not hard to be blown away by how rapid Henderson truly is, and when you turn on the tape, it just elevates that much more. He's not the most electric receiver, but he'll literally rip through any lane his blockers set up for him. The only issues I could see is that he can be a little stiff in his hips at times, and there are going to be questions with his size, especially considering the power and size of linebackers at the next level. But if you want a running back in the second round who's going to complement Jordan Howard, give you some speed on the edge and can really execute those zonal outside rushes that Peterson loves to run, Henderson is that guy. He's proven it at Memphis, he'll prove it at the next level. This will be the most explosive running back in this year's NFL draft. It's almost a guarantee. The question is, do the Eagles value the running back position enough to take a back that early, or will they instead seek to dive a little bit deeper, just as they have with Wendell Smallwood, Corey Clement, and even Darnell Pumphrey to some extent? That much is unknown, but I graded the top 10 best schematic fits for the Eagles at running back, and for me, Henderson landed at number 2 with 60 possible points out of 80. The only man to beat him was the first round projected Josh Jacobs, who came in with a score of 64.5, so 4 points difference for a round later. Darrell Henderson is the guy if you want a home run hit in the second round at running back. On to draft crush number 2, and that man is the University of Massachusetts receiver Andy Isabella. A lot of people are torn at this pick if the Eagles go receiver. Will it be Emmanuel Hall with a speed option, or will it be a slot guy like Paris Campbell who's bigger, or a smaller option in Andy Isabella? For me, this one is absolutely simple. He ranked 2nd in the nation in receptions, had 737 yards after the catch, which is 3rd in this class, and best of all, a 4.31 second 40-yard dash time. Yes, I know that size isn't on his side at 5'10", but in an offense like this one, where isolating those one-on-one matchups is absolutely pivotal, he's going to thrive. And I think that with the team potentially looking to move on from Nelson Agholor, you can view this in one of 2 ways. The Eagles are typically looking to go back to a big slot guy, but Andy Isabella on screens and bubbles and jet sweeps and all the rest of it would just be a menace. He's not physical, but in this modern era of the NFL, where physicality is becoming less and less of a priority and speed and elusiveness are on the inverse, I think his burst off the line of scrimmage, his ability to separate with ease, and more importantly, his ridiculous level of acceleration to get vertical and bring those yards after the catch to the table could just be the perfect replacement for what Agholor has currently. In fact, he averaged a 97.8 receiving grade on deep passes. That's the highest in this draft class. He may not have size, it's that short area quickness, it's the acceleration. He's got different levels of acceleration, he can change gear in a heartbeat. If you want a receiver who can cut on a dime on a comeback route, or more importantly slide underneath on a slant, Isabella would be a fantastic fit. Size and durability are undoubtedly going to be a concern, and this is why he's on that edge of a round 2 to round 3 pick. Would it be a reach at 57? I'm not quite sure, but if the Eagles are confident that Isabella is their guy, then there is no reason why fans shouldn't be confident that Isabella is as well. If the Eagles can't select a safety at pick 25, or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is off the board, then Darnell Savage would be the way to go in round number 2. He's been a stark riser in recent months, and it's no surprise either. His skill set is still a little raw, but it does boast enough strength to be placed in contention to partner Rodney McLeod as the team's 3rd safety. He has all the athletic traits that a defensive coordinator would want, but his aggressive mentality means that he's sometimes an all-or-nothing gambler. This, however, isn't the end of the world considering they've got Andrew Sandejo, a player moulded in that exact same fire. If left to roam in the defensive backfield, Savage will undoubtedly make plays. His interceptions went up every single year in college, and his speed and ability to get sideline to sideline is second to none. I think those three traits specifically partner very well with McLeod's skill set that would allow Malcolm Jenkins to run riot underneath. More of a developmental safety, Savage ticks every box that Jim Schwartz could want. A safety that hustles hard, is a freak of nature athletically, and is always poignant around the point of the catch. The penultimate player in this ranking is a man who just won't stop rising up draft boards, to the point where there are reports now citing that some teams could be willing to take a gamble on Titus Howard in the first round. Now, whether or not anyone will is a different debate entirely. However, the Alabama State offensive tackle brings so much to the table. At 6'5", 322 pounds, he's lethal against the run because of how quick he can get out of his stance, and he can credit that to a very athletic background that's seen him gone from playing quarterback to receiver to offensive tackle. There's just a trait of athleticism there which very few tackles will be able to match. What's more is that he could even be a situational player for the Eagles, or someone like Donald Penn who could potentially seek a role as a scoring tackle in such a creative offense. If gadget lineman is a thing, Titus Howard really does tick every box. I don't think the need to replace Jason Peters is dramatic as everyone is making out. Halapoulivaati Vaitai has proven himself as more than serviceable, and the development of Jordan Mailata will be an intriguing storyline to follow. But in between those two, Titus Howard is the perfect mainstay. Many point to his lack of length being an issue, but there's a reason why Jeff Stoutland has continued to hammer home how impressed he is to get to his pro day, to get to his workouts, and of course see him shine at the Senior Bowl. And then of course there's this little nugget from Howard on Twitter which cites he could well indeed be reciprocating that brotherly love. Will Titus Howard end up in Philadelphia? I don't know, but it's certainly a possibility. The coaching staff are extremely high on him, and it's not difficult to see why. And our final player to note here is Charles Omenihu out of Texas. Technically ranked as an inside defensive lineman who can play at a 5 tech, there's some supreme versatility here. He stands at 6'5" and 280 pounds, but it is that versatility that is going to have Jim Schwartz salivating. He relies more on his strength and a strong punch more than some finesse or burst or elusiveness, and there are some hand technique setbacks that will need to be coached up at the next level. But this is a man who uses his length extremely well, has got heavy hands, and is extremely good against the run. He rarely gets blown off his spot and is always driving forward with his lower body. There's a lot of effort there. He's a high character guy. That much has been praised throughout this entire draft process. And there are times he's tight in the hips. He doesn't have the natural bend of a defensive end, nor the power of a defensive tackle. But this is a guy that gives you almost that perfect blend of both. Think Michael Bennett, who had much success as a 3-tech defensive tackle and as a wide 9 end as well. I think that's the same sort of window we're looking at here for Omenihu. He had a great Senior Bowl showcasing that versatile talent and lighting up the stat sheet with 3 tackles, 2 for a loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. Eagles are still relatively light on interior depth, and in terms of the bigger picture at defensive end, it's still quite an old position right now, with Brandon Graham penned to an extension, Chris Long uncertain of his long-term future, and Vinny Curry on a 1-year deal. Omenihu alongside Derek Barnett with maybe Josh Sweat in 2 or 3 years to come, while Brandon Graham rides out on the best contract he's signed yet. That could be an elite rotation of defensive ends, or slide him inside underneath Malik Jackson as a developmental defensive tackle, depending on how the coaching staff see him. This is a beautiful pick for Philadelphia. It's a hard-working guy and someone that just brings that raw sense of grit and nastiness to a defensive front that thrives on it. But who do you want to see the Eagles take at picks 53 and 57? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget, guys, if you're new around here, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're going to have more of these videos on every round the Eagles have a draft pick in. So round 4, 5, 6 between now and the NFL draft, and more mock drafts and podcasts and all the rest of it. So thank you so much for all of your support. You can follow me on Twitter at Liam Jenkins 21. And don't forget, you can get your daily dose of Philadelphia sports news at phillysportsnetwork.com, where we're also hosting a mock draft competition. It's totally free. All you've got to do is project one first round mock, submit it on the form listed on our site, and if you win or you get the most picks right out of everyone who enters, you'll get yourself some free merchandise. So until next video, guys, I'll see you soon.